Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I am a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on June 28th, 2024 at approximately 4:30 p.m. PST. Now, I've returned to this world for one primary purpose, and that is to remind people that working together, we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. Now, I build myself as a spiritual guide because the tools I offer are the exact same tools I personally use in my day-to-day life. And the philosophies of life I talk about are the same philosophies that I personally use to guide virtually every movement I make. With this in mind, I know these tools will work for you because they continue to work for me and have literally worked for thousands of other people over the years, depending entirely on their own personal efforts. Now, I mentioned today, actually this week, we are going to be working and taking a look at various races, their interactions, and literally what makes them tick. Now, I will warn you, I have done nothing in the way, at least nothing that I'm aware of, in the way of actual research, as in reading somebody else's works to find out what they know. My information comes straight from head on, from firsthand experience. I'm not asking you to believe me. You get to decide that. I'm just not going to lie about it anymore. I'm not going to sugarcoat it because the reality is I see so many people go, oh, I'm interacting with these people and they're coming to invade us. They're coming to wipe us out. They're controlling civilization. The list goes on. Now, we found out last week somebody made the mistake of pulling that maneuver. So this is just a bit of a heads up. I've had a really intriguing week that showed me a lot of things. But before I go any further into it, before we get ahead of ourselves here, I'm just looking and seeing who came in. Woo, you are in with the gold today. How you doing? Hopefully your day's been going well. LA, nice to see you. Nice to see you up and about. I trust your energy levels are holding reasonable. And you guys are in for a real shock here because in with the silver, Adam Lakatos is in with the silver. And yes, Adam, I did actually get your text. Now, on that note, I keep questioning whether or not I'm having an impact, whether or not there is any point to this. Well, I will tell you, I've had a lot of you guys, every time I talk about, I don't know if this is working. I don't know how much longer I'm going to do it. I'm going to try and show you something. I am going to apologize for the quality because what I'm going to do is show my actual cell phone. And I really don't know if I can do this. There we go. Now, this was actually sent to me today. I don't know if you'll be able to read it. Of course, I'm trying to get it turned around so you can see it at all. But you'll notice and that is two hands. But Adam Lakatos sent me this picture. These are his and his other half's hands with a neat little tattoo on the forearm that says, I am worth it. Now, I don't think you guys can read that. But you can see where the tattoo is. If I was looking for physical proof, that what I'm doing is having some sort of an impact, that might be the closest thing to it that I can get. So then, yes, it did, Adam, when he sent that, let me just get that out of the way. We are talking technology here. But, of course, I can't see it. There we are. Adam did actually send me a letter saying it was fine to share it, which is the only reason I put it up there at all. Now, like I said, I tell people, get it put on your fridge, on the mirror in front of you, on the bathroom mirror, over top of your computer. You know, I've got one on my fridge, one on top of in front of my computer here, one on the front door that people walking by have noticed. Adam and his other half have gone way beyond that. And it's literally fine. There is no way. I mean, technically they say you can remove tattoos. Okay. But it's like a broken mirror. You might be able to remove it, but it's always going to be there. You know, that's about as blatant a show that we are having a viable impact. Okay, so I cannot say thank you enough for that, Adam. Now, we'll slide down a little here because I could get really badly carried away there. Joe is in, may not be a bad thing. Joe is here with the bronze. And scroll down a little further. And Renee, you are in with honorable mention. Welcome aboard. You know, the nice part about it is I figured, okay, we have spent months literally on how to get your life in order. But what brought me into the live stream in the first place was literally my time on Dave's show on Spaced Out Radio. Okay, into this. This is not what brought me here. See, way back, probably a decade back or more, I ended up running into LA and Storm, and they had their own radio. I believe, if I remember the name correctly, it was Hazy Radio. Okay. We met then and have never lost contact since. And, you know, it's hard to believe, but I think LA said it was 8 years since I was down there last. It's now less than 6 weeks before we go. Okay, and there's a whole lot of changes coming up there. Now, okay, we are sitting at that point. Okay, yeah, there we go. LA is just going, it was called Hazy Radio, Dimensions of Spirit. Now, this week, we're going to be looking at the interconnectivity of various races because there's a lot more of a connection than you might think. Now, for those, where are we here? Joe's just informing us. Earlier today at home, I lost time. I don't know if that means anything or not, but when it happened, it puzzled me a bit. Lost time, in all fairness, Joe, first and foremost, doesn't mean in and of itself that anything happens. Sometimes people just get caught up doing what they're doing. You know, there are days when I will lose time. Usually it means I'm caught up either writing or gaming. Last night it was gaming. All of a sudden it's like 9 o'clock at night. We started at 3 in the afternoon. And I missed the whole night. But on the other hand, the game was a lot of fun. Killed off 3 characters. Finally got the 4th one to work. Yeah. And then he goes, no dementia, however, opinions vary. Oh, oops. Yeah, but you know, opinions vary a lot on that. You know, I keep looking at it this way where it comes to dementia. And sidetrack completely, I know that. But literally, and this seldom happens, I can't say it never happens. Every psychiatrist, psychologist, student of psychiatry, student of psychology, counselor, amateur or professional, without exception, I've asked them all, everyone I ran into, how do you tell if someone is losing their mind? Anybody out there got an idea? Because I will give you the answer to that in a minute or two. Yeah, that means you don't have a lot of time to put in your idea. But I am watching the chat room to see what pops. And that ought to be entertaining. Let's make sure this stays here. So, how do you tell if you yourself are losing your mind? That was the question I've asked all of these people. Try and do this, see if this clears it up. Hey, I got birds. Not Alfred Hitchcock temperatures, but because that would just be wrong. LA is going a complete sidestep for the normal of a person, of the normal for a person. Now, and thank you for that, LA. Here's what I was told. Eternity, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Many of you question yourselves, am I losing my mind? Here's the answer every one of them, without exception, has given me. If you're asking, are you losing your mind? You're not. Because if you were losing your mind, you would not be questioning. Now, with this focal point, I ask myself all the time, am I actually completely off my nut? Okay, so here's the reality of it. I hear so many people claiming to be in contact with these different races regularly. Now, I'm not going to say who I believe and who I don't. You get to figure out who you believe, who you don't. I will tell you this. None of the information that I'm providing was actually garnered by my going to a book and going, oh, let's look what this says. Okay, now some of it has been triggered by a conversation I've been having where all of a sudden new pieces of the puzzle fit into place. Joe goes, the times were different to my bedroom upstairs wall clock, my weather radio clock, and the downstairs wall clock. But the time's right now. Yeah, and that usually indicates you've got an interesting setup going on. But for obvious reasons, Joe, trying to figure this one out, I will absolutely sort it out with you. It won't be tonight, okay? Because I'm already booked solid. Once I get done this stream, I'm already booked until somewhere around midnight tonight. I've already had to reschedule somebody for tomorrow. So my life is getting interesting. Yeah, Ellie goes, a person can be gaslighted into nervous breakdown. You know, I always found gaslighting was a little bit more conflagratory, i.e., let the gas run, light it. Not usually a good idea, but I'm not great on modern terminology a lot of the time. But no, Joe, what I do want to do with this particular thing, because it does bear looking into, okay, is I will end up dropping you a line, and you can drop me a line to fill in the details. We will do our best to connect ASAP and sort this out. Okay. You know, that's not to shut you down. That is literally because we have time constraints around the world. Rachel, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Now, the neat part about this, we take a look at the whole picture. Now, I have problems, as you well know, with a lot of the behavior of humans. Okay. And there's a lot of reasons for it. But we're going to take a look at a couple of the different races. Now, for those of you that already have the book. Oh, okay. LA just goes gaslighting. Telling a person that perceptions are mistaken and that the person telling them is correct. It's insidious. I had somebody do that cost me a friendship because they told me my opinion was wrong. Hence the note at the top of this stream. Your opinion cannot be wrong. Your facts might be misinterpreted. The information may be completely skewed, but your opinion cannot be wrong. So I'm not going to tell you your opinion's wrong. I will tell you, this is the way I see the world. This is what I run into firsthand. You get to figure that out. Okay. Callie, how you doing? Okay, but we've spent months looking at just how to get control of your life. Now we're going to take a look at what these other races are going through and how many of them are interconnected. Now, we covered the consortium itself last week. For those of you that actually have races of the world, if there's a race you want to take a look at that you want more information on, I'm just looking for my little book here. Where is my little big book? And your little dog too. No, that's not right. But we have my clipboard for taking notes, which means because I'm dealing with a week-long run here, if there's a race that you do want to know more about or that we discuss, absolutely let us know. And we will do our best to get to it. Okay. I don't have a solid schedule to say here it is. This week's going to be a little different. So let's get started on that. Okay. And the first race that we're going to talk about, and hopefully, and I should have thought about this, mind you, unfortunately, Frank, Storm, where are we? If I mention a race and you don't have it, I've got my book up in front of me here. I can drop it into, can't drop it in the chat. I do have Facebook up and running, so I can drop it. I can drag and drop it into your Facebook if you don't have it. But the first one we're looking at is the Caboran. Okay, the Caboran is literally the planet you're living on. Now, let's be clear. Every Caboran is a planet, but every planet is not necessarily a Caboran. Okay, and I am making a note of that there, Adam. Whoops. What did I do? Now, I don't know if I'll get to them today, Adam, but I will do my best. Joe goes, Adam's going, I'd like to know more about the Watchers. So we will certainly, they are now, I've only got 5 or 6 that are here that I was going to be touching on anyway, to start with, to leave room. See, you can bet your bottom dollar there, Adam, we will be taking a look at the Watchers. Let me see. This is why I got this neat little book. This is itself Races of the Worlds. There we are. Way back on 59. No, Vulcan is V. There we are. Oh, bonus. Okay. Yeah, we will absolutely get to them. Oh, nice. Well, hopefully the Costco haul went well. I mean, we've got a Costco here. I just don't actually go to it because there's too many people. But I do have to make a run there anyway. Cowie, the 7-foot praying mantis type, that is the Cleatlock. And those are on the list to be discussed. Okay. They're an interesting race, and they are already on the list to get to, which ought to make Nathan happy when he gets here. But we're going to start with the Caboran. Now, understand, the Caboran is literally a neutral. Okay, let us take a look at the Arborean. Well. There it is. We're looking for the thing to get back up here. Here we are. I'm jumping in the water bucket. Didn't want to do that. There, undo that move. Now, I have to go over here. There, copy. Hopefully this works. And Storm, if this works, I'll let you know. Okay, the Arborean we will be getting to, but we got to deal with the Caborean first. Now, the Caborean, I don't actually know if I've got a. Let's see if I've got one. I got to scroll through it. Should have a picture of them. I'm just scrolling down to see if I've actually got. I should have one because it's in the first book. It's always fun trying to find it. At least I hope I got it in this one. Before I take any more time looking for that. Oh, that's why I don't have it. Okay, I'm not going to show you a picture of the Caborean, but understand, first and foremost, a Caborean is the planet you're living on. Okay, that's one of them. Now, here's the neat part. Every Caborean is a planet. Okay, but every planet is not a Caborean. An obvious example, Earth itself, the one I know as Esau. You know as Mother Earth, as Gaia, as Mother Nature. There's a lot of different names. Here's the thing. They are one of the few absolutely 100% neutral solo individuals. They do have friends, they do have connections. Okay, but they do not have a society per se. They are very independent. But their purpose is simple. Provide a space for life. They do not control any kind of what that life does. Okay, they literally provide a place for life to exist. That is their purpose. And when somebody takes on the role of a Caborean, like if you choose to come back as a Caborean, you're choosing to spend the next several, literally billion years, if we measure it in human time, as a life supporter for as many different species as the species decide. They are usually considered children of that given individual. In Esau's case, everything living on Earth, okay, are her children. Okay, many of the elementals are not technically her children. They show up and decide that they become a symbiotic relationship. Now, Caborean, as you can well imagine, if you know anything about even basic astronomy, are a nomadic race. They get themselves into a stable pattern and know before somebody asks that question. I do have in my notes somewhere, it will be in one of the books, the actual race of stars. Okay, because the way thing, I don't have the name for you right now. Okay, but that'll come up down the road somewhere. A star is not a Caborean. The Caborean are literally children of the stars. Okay, and we'll get to that down the road when we do tangle with that one. Okay, but when you're dealing with that, the Caborean are literally, they are a life support system. They do have things that they require you to do. Humans are they are the dominant surface dwelling, technologically advanced species on Earth. This is why the Caborean, why humans are the caretakers. And I'll tell you, politely put, from Esau's mouth to my ears, humans on the whole are doing an absolutely pathetic job of it. Okay, in case you hadn't noticed, first of all, let's clear a couple of controversial things. Mankind and the pollution you guys are producing is not the cause of global warming. You do a lot of things. Controlling a Caboran's breathing, not one of them. It's kind of like in Iron Man, where Iron Man is told, you've invented a lot of really neat things. War wasn't one of them. Well, you guys didn't invent global warming. Your technology didn't start because it took technology. Care to explain, even in your own mind, care to explain how the global warming took place before the dinosaurs even got into existence? Okay, it's pretty arrogant for humans to go, oh, we're causing global warming. It's kind of like going, God requires us to be here for him to survive. He got here a long time beforehand. And we now have the Arborean, and we are coming up on them. Okay, I've got a number of different ones. Nice part is these are all going in. They're already set in the races of the world. Okay, they're already in the soft copy for it. But the Caboran, and we'll come back to that. Now, stop and think before we speak. It's a novel thought, but it does happen sometimes. The Caboran are absolutely a neutral race. Okay. Yeah. What do we got here? Now, of course, here's where it gets really entertaining. The Caboran are a planet. The Caborans are planets. But how did the Caboran come about? Well, here's the thing now. Which came first, the chicken or the egg? You figure that out. Okay. But let's start with the Caboran. How does the Caboran reproduce? Well, you've seen tectonic upheaval. If you're a woman, okay, you felt internal upheaval, also known as, by the way, contractions. No, I'm not giving you a lesson in human physiology. Sorry, you're on your own on that one. Caborans, when they get to a certain point, they will have all kinds of complications, all kinds of tectonic disruption. Now, one of the things we have talked about, and I bet you don't have this one there in that storm. I'm going down here to, I am looking for the Corydon, and I don't know if you've got a picture of that. Okay. Do you actually have a picture of the Corydon there, Storm? Whoop. Okay. Now, matter of fact, I should do it this way. Heck with the other side of it. Whoop. Do that, and we go. Got that. Well, I'm going to save you a half. Oh, that won't work. I'm just going to do it the easy way. The Corydon is now in your messenger. Now, when a Caboran has a tectonic upheaval, Corydon are Earth elementals. Okay, but here's the neat little character to them. When you have that eruption, okay, little bits and pieces, as you're well aware, little bits and pieces, little chunks of Earth get cast into the atmosphere. Okay, with the way, now this is all interrelated. Caboran, Holic, and the Waylosh are all children of the Caboran. Okay, they are also a species unto themselves in a sense. It's a weird setup, but we have to work with it. Okay, now let's get back to this. Go there, that way I can see what pops up. Now, when the eruption happens, okay, little bits and pieces, tiny particulates get cast up into the air. Okay, those little bits and pieces get picked up by the whalewash, okay, the air elementals, and lifted higher into the atmosphere. Sooner or later, the whalelock will, the holic will take these particulates and move them off the planet by simple ejection. Now I call it simple. I've watched this happen. If you've ever watched birth happen in humans, it's not an enjoyable experience for either the child or the mother. Okay, but I don't want to do that. I do not want to get into that. But this little particulate, also known as a cordon, okay, the cordon gets put into orbit. It gets pushed out of space. Okay, now there are all kinds of things going on. I'm just cutting down the steps. That cordon, that little tiny particulate, will continue to grow. Sooner or later, it will get big enough to be qualified as a Caboran. Okay, and it will be traveling, like some Caboran are what you would call asteroids, either asteroids or comets. This is a normal exploratory pattern until they find a place to call home. Sometimes they get adopted by a star they've just come across. Sometimes they are the reason a star comes into play, where somebody comes in. But the cordon becomes the Caboran. Okay, kind of like a child becomes an adult. Hopefully this is making sense. If not, well, I'm pretty much hooked. And there we have the cordon. Now, you've seen these guys. Ever hear of a landslide or a mudslide or anything that isn't an enjoyable slide? That's now again. All cordon are not landslides, and all landslides are also not cordon. Okay, it is a complicated setup, so you're going to have to realize we are streamlining this side of it. Okay, but the Caboran does not have an actual place in the conflict anywhere. Their entire purpose is find a place to settle into a stable orbit where life of some form can evolve. That is the Caboran's entire purpose. They do have communication with each other, and sometimes, and I take full advantage of this information, by the way, you get to figure out if my mind's gone haywire or if I'm just passing on information in a slightly different fashion. Remember, I mentioned that the Elderbachian, I want to be able to see what I'm actually doing. The Elderbachian Chronicles are literally, you take a look at things, okay? You take a look at the way that I write. Now, you can either chalk my imagination up to the cause of it, or you can take it for what it is in my eyes. And I thought it was my imagination to start with until I got looking into it. But that's the birth of the wolf pack. Okay. In all of the Elderbachian Chronicles, a lot of this information is covered. Now, Caboran do have a communication line with other Caboran. Okay. But they do not pick sides in a war, ever. They may call for help for all the good that does them in most cases. Okay, but when you're dealing with that, what I've done is recently, where did I put it? Put my book down, forgot what I did with it. In Races of the World, this is encyclopedic. Simple as that. These pictures I'm showing you are literally in the second printing. Now, somebody mentioned yesterday or last week, don't ask me when, sometime last week, we were actually talking about the consortium and this neat little weapon. Why have a big weapon? Size doesn't matter. Tell you size matters a lot. But here's why that weapon was designed. Okay. And this is where we go a little sideways. There is a tool out there. It is now included in the second printing. Okay. There is a weapon literally called the Relicore. Okay. Now here's the thing, and I gotta bring up another picture for Storm here. We have to go down all the way to the bottom end. There it is. All the way down here. Not the Zetas. Up above that. Oh, we want the Xenon. And we copy that. Go over here. I'm actually surprised I'm able to do this at all. But what the heck? Paste that. Now, these are the Xenon we were talking about. These guys are mechanized. Okay. Now, they developed this weapon that we were talking about, the Relicore. The one that the front end of the muzzle on it is twice the size, twice the diameter of the length of the HMS Titanic. Okay. So it's twice that diameter at least. And I mean, I could go for a slightly better estimate, but I'll leave it at that. But the way that weapon got brought in, or why it got brought in, is because, yeah, you can take a tiny little high-powered laser of sorts. Okay, you absolutely could. But here's the problem. You take a beam that's that far across, and you punch a hole in a Caboran. It's not going to disrupt much. Okay, we know this. But the size of that particular weapon was designed to literally boil the lifeblood out of a Caboran. It was designed to kill Caboran. Now, let me ask you this. Any idea why somebody would build a weapon that size with the sole purpose, and it's the only real functional purpose, is to wipe out a planet? What would be the purpose? Any ideas? Now, this just goes to show we don't have everybody the same way. I've mentioned that the Xenon, there are members of the Xenon that are part of the consortium. But here's why. See, the Xenon, their leaders, brilliant people, yeah, a little bit of sarcasm, decided they wanted to wipe out all bios. But the Xenon rely on biological evolution to get ideas on what they can improve on. Okay, these guys developed the Relicore, but some of their people went, no, this ain't going to happen. This is just wrong. They did exactly what some people in other countries do in wartime. They defected. They took the schematics for the Relicore and brought it to the consortium in exchange for asylum. Okay, they as a unit were brought into the consortium. They were helped set up a new planet of their own where they could carry on with their life while falling into consortium law. This weapon that is on the main weapon at this point on the Consortium flagship is the Relicore, designed to literally blow a planet apart. So, yes, it's been put to use for that purpose. But thus far, nobody's come up with an idea as to why that is. Okay, as to why you would blow a planet up. Bearing in mind that the Gaboran do not get involved in intergalactic wars. They don't get involved in wars at all. Now, let's find the other. Now, the Cordon are one of Gaboran's children. Then we have these people. And we go here. This is another one of Esau's children. Okay? And that's the Waylosh. The Waylosh come in all kinds of shapes and sizes. Okay? And they are literally, they are a water elemental. And by the way, it's really neat when people go, when you take a look at gaming at D&D and what have you. Oh, there's the elemental plane of water. There's the elemental plane of fire. It's great. I love it. The fact of the matter is, you can take a look at that in a lot of ways. These guys are on the third dimension. Okay. But they make their home in, on Gaboran. Okay. Now that's the second of her direct children. The third of her direct children I am taking a look for. And by the way, just so you're aware, where the heck is the button? There it is. Go way back up here to the holoc. Okay. This is actually working out a lot better than I was thinking it would. And this is child number 3. I'm not getting into the details on these people right now. Okay, because there's other ones. Joe has asked, do the Xenon have ships? In a manner of speaking, some of the Xenon are ships. Okay. They build themselves up to the point of being able to move other Xenon. Now, these are the guys that when the Xenon are the guys that we are in contact with, helping them understand that blowing up the entire bionome is a bad idea. It is actually self-deprivating. Okay. But now again, these guys are all they are all literally in the second printing. Okay. Now where did my list go here? Because I actually, oddly enough, I actually did make notes of what I wanted to get to. And I just didn't put a time frame on it for a lot of reasons. Now, there is a race that I'm going to be waiting for a little bit. I'm literally waiting because I know that Nathan is somewhere about. He usually shows up at some point. We are going to be dealing with the Clee Clock later. Okay, as soon as I know that Nathan is actually in the house. But there we have a link between the Cordon, the holoc, the Waylosh, and the Gaboran. Okay, now, this is a completely interconnected group. But you got to remember, when we look at the Xenon, the Xenon actually had to set up home. Oddly enough. Now, if I remember correctly, that is correct. Okay. I'm just getting told that is correct. The Xenon are on a planet. They do not live on a Gaboran. Okay. Now, one other planet I know is a planet is Mobius. It's a planet, as in, it is a chunk of rock. period. There is no life in the planet itself. This does not mean it does not have life on it, because you got to remember, the Cordon, Holic, and Waylosh do not require they don't have to be on a Caboran to live. They can take residence up on a rock. But the Xenon have literally, some build themselves to the point of being completely, in human terms, completely automated. Okay. So these guys, you understand where we're going there. Okay. Now, every one of the Caborans, their whole purpose is simply to let life grow. Now, they may call for help from their contacts, okay, in order to figure out, in order to get help, if one of their own races is creating too much of a problem for the others to deal with, because their intention, the Caboran, is to provide a neutral territory, not to say, oh, you guys are the dominant. It's when the dominant species starts terminating the Caboran. And it's never done by, they don't call for help if the dominant species, if the caretakers are being stupid. They do it if the caretakers are being violently aggressive towards the planet, towards the Caboran directly. Now, you're going to love this, because humans are pushing the edge on that one. But rest assured, they will exhaust all of their own means first. And not all Caboran are as awake as the next one. Okay. The Xenon simply move in. We don't like, and here's why that weapon was designed. We don't like the species that are growing on the Caboran. We're going to wipe them all out. Easiest way to wipe out an entire subset of species. The Xenon will come in. They will literally boil the Caboran to the point, and this happens if you know anything about cooking or chemistry. You take an enclosed structure, you superheat the core. It will expand to the point of blowing apart. Now, that explosion will leave some of the people not atomized. You'll end up with some corpses in orbit drifting in space. Okay, it's a matter of numbers. Then the Xenon go in, okay, you're all dead. But we can take the bioorganism, we can not bring it back to life, but we can analyze it completely and then take the ideas that we get. That's their method of usual operation. So you see how that works. Now, again, I did not do any research, and good luck on that one. Nathan, how are we doing? Nathan, you will be happy to know we are looking at the Klee clock. I was just waiting for you to come in. Guys, Nathan has his show, the Quantum Show, comes on every Saturday from 9 p.m. From 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Drop in, give him a listen. Do give him a thumbs up if you like what he has to say. Subscribe to the channel and share the daylights out of it. Now, I do believe, let me just check something here. There we are. Okay. Now, couple of things. I was going through my notes because I'm in the middle of expanding everything. The Klee clock, also known as the mantis. Okay. Adam, how you doing? I gotta send you a little piece of information if you don't catch this part. What the heck are you doing? Thank you. The acorn ship and the acorn-shaped ships you guys have seen. Some of you have seen them. These are the ships of the Klee clock, the mantis folk. Okay. That's their ship. But the Mantis are an interesting race. Okay. And they are very much, there's two different groups you'll see. The Mantis, which are four-legged, essentially, they've actually got 6 limbs. Okay. I think you've got a picture of the Cleat Clock. If not, I'm going to be finding it anyway. Just because of the fact I know where they are now. I figure I'm sitting here, we might just as well work with it. Yep, we've already got it. Perfect. Now, you'll either run into people like that, and yes, from the floor, they are about the 7-foot mark. It varies like humans. Okay. But you may run into hybrids, which are they are literally human Cleat Clock hybrids. Okay. These are an interesting race. Okay. And yes, they do start off in an egg. Okay, they evolve from there we have it. Now you'll notice they've got 4 arms. Okay, the 2 smaller ones and the bigger ones. That thing in the left hand, that is one of their guns. These guys are not to be trifled with. Peaceable, yes. A peaceful race. I'm just looking at what we've got here. I've actually got both this one and I guess I should enlarge that one. There, now I can see that a little easier. That's always fun. See, now I can actually really see it a little easier. Don't want that. So, all in all, the Cleat Clock are technologically advanced, but they are not human, in case you couldn't tell by the appearance. And by the way, the armor they wear, they literally have to construct it. Okay, but they are very high-tech. They work with literally sonic weaponry. Okay, now, this is a race that has evolved very much. Winter Circle, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Yeah, these are all pictures that are already placed in. Now, I will tell you, we're just about done with the editing, and therefore we are on track for the end of July. Okay, then it's just a question of making sure that the finances are there. That's a fun part. The thing is, all races, every one of them, well, except the Gaboran. Gaboran, and there's a couple other races that really did not go through what mankind is going through. But your corporeals, virtually everyone has done exactly what mankind has done. Let's build it, let's evolve, expand our race, let's increase the technological level, and completely dump the morality of it. Let's just totally throw it out the window and figure out if that works. Okay, this is why I look at what humans are doing going, you've got to be kidding. Okay, you really have to realize this method doesn't work well. You think with mankind blowing yourself into the dark ages multiple times, humans would have got the message. Clearly, this is not the case. The Cleat Clock did the same thing. Okay, and by the way, no, the Cleat Clock are not related to earthbound grasshoppers and or locusts. They look similar, but they are not related. Okay, unlike some of the other species on Earth. And by the way, gotta remove this thing. So many of the professionals I've talked to have said there's this brilliant rumor out there. Oh, mankind was seeded by aliens. Yeah, cute thought, not the way it went down. Now, do understand, I did not research any of this. I watched it happen. Okay. I'm going to come back to the Cleat Clock in about 30 seconds here. I do believe, Storm, I do believe you have a picture of the Zertix. Now, the Zertix is one of the few races that rendition after rendition of reality, they've managed to survive. But it's the way they managed to pull it off that became so intriguing. Okay, the Zertix are an energy race. They are also the keepers of the Akashic records. Okay, they are the ones that track everything. Okay, and you would be amazed how organized they are. And there we have the Zertix. Yeah, they're not an exciting race to look at. Okay, they evolved by literal mitosis. They simply replicate and become two totally independent races, independent individuals, completely capable of functioning on their own level, right off the bat. But these are the people that literally are literally the ones that are handling the Akashic records. And something just dawned on me. Told you, talking about this on occasion does actually trigger other memory. Nope. I'm just marking this down before I forget about it. It just dawned on me that the Zertix is one of the possible related races to what you know, and I don't know the name of it offhand, of what you know as the Will of the Wisp. Okay, I'm thinking it's probably not the Zertix. I'm more inclined to think they're tied to the Vorosic. But when we look at the Zertix, they are the people you talk to. Now, some of you can get to the Akashic records yourself. I'm one of them. Okay. Some of you are going to require assistance from somebody that can get there to check what your life path is. Okay. But we're talking your soul's life path. And this is why I say all of this that we're talking about is connected. Okay. Even if you look at the religious side of things, and you start looking at the comment, don't ask me where in the Bible. I have not come across it yet. I am making headway on my reading of it. But somewhere in the Bible, and somebody else gets to figure out where, is a statement that God is known by many names on many worlds. Okay. And do with that what you will. But I will tell you, all of this is connected. The whole 9 yards. Now, when you take a look at the Kleeklock, okay, they are very technologically and extremely finely technologically oriented. Okay, they also, let me see if I got that right. Yep. They are also very much military minded. Okay. In other words, humans are a very disorganized bunch of rabble. Okay, and what I mean by that, take a look at how scattered humans are in their different societies, in their different levels of government, in their different ways of treating each other. The Kleeklock are absolutely unified. Now, picture what would happen, bringing this into human context. Picture what would happen. Now we know locusts will swarm. They will wipe out all biomaterial. They will wipe out all plant life when locusts swarm. Okay, do your own research, read up on it. Okay, when the Kleeklock go to attack, picture a swarm of Kleeklock coming in. Okay, coming in on Earth with the intention of conquering it. They will not come in and set up a foothold on this one planet, on this one location. Humans go, hey, there's a beach, let's land. Kleeklock don't. They'll bring everything into orbit, and then everybody land at once. Good luck with your defense. Now, do understand that's not ever going to happen. And there's a lot of reasons for that. But we're not going down that road today. Okay, but the Klinglock are, we call them, they're referred to as mantis people because when you look at the head of them, that's what they look like. The fact that 7 feet tall kind of takes them out of the size of being a mantis. Oh, very important. I've already started to put together in the back of Races of the Worlds, in the second printing, I'm already putting together a complete list of the different races that I've got. Okay. Now, in Races of the Worlds, we've got 60 races listed and detailed. In the appendix, you'll have, I think, 120 and then some when I get them all moved in. Okay. But like I said, this is a work in progress. But as you can see, we've got a lot of information. I cannot say, well, I could say, I'm not going to. The information I'm giving you may, oh, there you go. LA goes, that statement, the statement is in Genesis. Thank you very much. Sadly, LA, I read Genesis. Actually, when I look at it, where am I? Just to give you an idea. I told my father I was going to read this cover to cover. I am currently going through Chronicles. Okay, so I told my dad I was going to read it cover to cover. I am doing my best to do so. Oh, there you go. I haven't got to into Revelations. But the important factor is, guys, we are all connected. Every one of us. Robert, how you doing? I'm going to have to ask, because I did see the Rathacon. I just don't remember what aspect we're referring to. So I'm just going to ask you, is that why Con wanted what? Okay, I'll be happy to answer the question. I just don't know what it is yet. Bingo. Well, sort of. Genesis was the scientific process designed to literally trigger life. And yes, that is why Con wanted it. Okay, but you gotta remember the other catch with Con is he wanted Genesis because Genesis would wipe out whatever life was actually there. Okay, but yes, that was entirely why he wanted it. Just want to put those back up. Now, that being said, okay, we take a look at the Klinglock themselves are an interesting little setup. They work with high technology, sonic and light-based attacks. Okay, now bear in mind, sonic is absolutely devastating. So this is just one of those races that we're looking at. Now, let us take a peek at the list I've got here. Get that out of the way. And like I said, that ship, somebody asked me the other day that they asked what race owned that ship. Okay, the acorn-shaped ship. Okay, acorn sitting upright, usually, it belongs to the Klinglock. They aren't as common to be seen as some of the other ones. Now, there are a couple of other races that we're looking at. Okay, where are we here? Oh, good. We're only through the first hour. That actually went better than I was thinking. I'm not sailing through all of the races. Okay, but you've got an idea what the Caboran is. that Caboran. Now, here's where humans are making a mistake. Okay. Now, when we take a look at that, one of the first races to evolve, and they each evolve on the Caboran on their own. They are connected in a sense, but that's kind of like saying that a child of a reptilian race is connected to the child of a simian race. And they are. Okay. But they aren't brought through the same side of it. Now, when we take a look at the Arborians, okay, Arborians are one of Esau's children, or a group of Esau's children. But Arborians are not just trees. Okay, the Arborian they are plants. Okay, which means, okay, the big qualifier is they happen to have a somewhat woody stalk. Okay, but there are other races that fit in there. The Arborians, most of the time, the most common to see are your trees. Okay, and we had that picture up a little while ago. But what mankind is doing, and in all fairness, it's unbeknownst to mankind on the whole. Now, again, Arborians, every Arborian is a plant-like creature. Every tree is not Arborian. Okay, if we go to Tolkien's world, and you start looking at ants, okay, they're alive today. You can take a look on YouTube, and you decide whether they're real. I am not a video analyst. You can see over the South Pacific, there are islands that have trees that move, by estimation, probably at close to 20 miles an hour. Okay. Now, the Arborian, what mankind is doing, okay, I get a kick out of it. Mankind. There is a lot I would be saying I look at there. But one thing they're doing is creating a problem. Is clear cutting forests. Okay, there's a couple of reasons that becomes an issue. And fortunately, there's not much of that going on anymore, from what I gather. Humans seem to have figured out that clear cutting an area has a lot of negative impact. Now, Arborians are connected throughout the planet. Okay, they are connected through a very intricate system of nerves. Okay, also known as a root system. But they are connected all the way across the planet. And and this is one of those neat little races. They will, on the whole, ignore things. Their idea is take care of the trees, take care of the shrubs. The little Arborians quite often are no more than, you're 3-4 feet tall. Take a look at trees, you figure it out. Not all Arborians, correction, all Arborians are living plants in human definition. All living plants are not Arborian. Okay. And it's really neat watching your foresters go out. Because the forester, if they're thinning out an area, they'll be looking at it and they're going, okay, I've studied trees. I know this one's in rough shape. That one's not. What you don't necessarily realize is Esau talks to some of those foresters. Now, the foresters will tell you, I just got this feeling that this was a tree that needed to come down. You can almost bet your bottom dollar that either Esau or one of the Arborians has reached out to communicate and say, hey, that tree, they're already ill. Put them out of their misery. That one is ready to die. Cut it down. Okay. And they guide the foresters. Now, this is not to say that everything is done by the Arborians or by Esau. Some of those foresters are just so well trained And many times it is instinct. They can glance at an actual tree and go, it looks healthy, but tap, tap, she's dead inside, bring it down. There is no way I'm going to tell you that human foresters don't know what they're doing. Okay, they really do. They're a very talented group. Their leaders, as in the people saying, go out and wipe out this section. Not quite so, shall we say, I was going to say humanitarian, but it's not really humanitarian. But they aren't really that well developed. Okay, the foresters, the people actually doing the cutting, many of them are so caught up in nature, and it's absolutely refreshing to watch the way they work. These are people that will talk to the trees, they will talk to the animals when they see them without shooting them. But the Arboreans, they are an interesting race. Where are we? Let's get back up to the Arboreans, shall we? I'd love to do it the easy way, but I cannot see the tag for it. Should probably just grab the book since it's all there. But Arboreans are one of these very integral issues. We kind of require them the same as they require us. Okay, and if you're not aware of how that works, it really boils down to this. Arboreans, they breathe carbon dioxide. Their output is oxygen. Needless to say, humans breathe oxygen and they exhale. They breathe in oxygen, exhale carbon dioxide. This is a symbiotic relationship. Okay, now don't kid yourself. The Arboreans simply require oxygen breathing in individuals. Any species will do. So, push comes to shove. Sorry, guys, humans are not required. The planet, you guys blow yourself all to oblivion. It's not going to matter to the planet much. They will carry on. Personally, I'd like it all to work out, but there is a lot of complications there. But the Arboreans, they have a very intricate communication line. But as Tolkien actually laid out very clearly, okay, the Arboreans take a long time to say anything. But you got to remember, these guys can live several hundred years. And they pass on information at a staggering level. Now, let's take a look at some of the other ones that are also here. Where are we? That's not bad. Whoop. Oh, we do have to take a look at that. Now, where, pray tell, is that info? You can picture how my mind works on occasion. Going way down here. Down to the Xenon. Now, do understand, the Xenon are not related to the Xenon in any functional fashion. However, something that is very important to realize, where is my Xenon? Here we are. Oh, yes. Now, the neat part about it, when we take a look at the Watchers, at what Adam was talking about, I don't think you've got those there. So let's see if I can. I really wish I could see. There. One's a small monitor is my problem. Here we go. Now, go over here and Storm, we have a new one for you. This is the Xenon, the Watchers. Okay. Now, you take a look at those. Now, here's the link that is going to just throw some of you for a loop. Okay. These guys are also really, now, let me just pull up the information here. Why am I going there? It's sitting right in front of me. These guys, all they do is they watch, they record, and you'll love this. These are the ones that are on the ground that pass on a lot of the current information from what goes on Earth to the Zerzics, who thereby record the information all in the Akashic records. Okay, like I said, everybody is part of a much bigger system. Okay, and don't kid yourself, guys. Those of you that are in the research departments, those of you that are, those humans of you that are out there doing research, doing study, doing actual field work, not necessarily, I mean, they still take a look at the information that you guys are researchers, and you grab hold of books and you collect the information that's already written and put it in together in a new form. There's nothing wrong with that. That information is carried back to the Zerzics, okay? Or if you're lucky, you've got a watcher handy. But here's the link you're not aware of, okay? And they're not in Races of the World second edition. They will be in volume 2, okay? And that's your black-eyed children. Okay, they're being called and they're being brought into book 2, into volume 2. Why the heck did I do that? So what we've got is you got humans doing what they will. The black-eyed children are not a threat. They are literally watchers before they get any discipline. That's why they will go into places they're not supposed to go. I don't know, have you guys ever had a child around you that you've watched go somewhere where they shouldn't? I know that seems like such an odd thing. But the black-eyed children go into different places. Curiosity is a primary issue of theirs. Okay. And they turn it over to their parents, the Xenon. Now the Xenon turn around and talk to the Zerzics, and it gets dumped into the Akashic records, where humans can go full circle and go back and find out what they're working on. Now you got to remember, humans are, when we talk about living the human experience, your body is in, now get this, if it responds properly to, and this does not mean, if aspirin doesn't work for you, it doesn't mean you're not human. Okay, there is a wide array of things you got to look at. Okay, and do not get me wrong. When I'm taking a look at all this going on, everybody is literally connected. Okay, in so many more ways. This is just a very mild way of putting it. Now, yes, in case you hadn't noticed, I've been making notes because this whole array is going to be covered over the course of the next 5 days. I'll figure out what to do with it after that. But the reason I say I didn't research this, I'm laying odds. Most of you haven't heard it put this way before. Okay? And if you have, let me know. The neat part about it, when we take a look at what the Xenon do, what the Watchers do, they do not choose sides in a war. They are simply there to watch. And yes, this does mean that a Xenon on the whole, if a Xenon decides it's going to let something happen, it just sits there and records what went down. Oh, This is one of those ones where I've got to put the pronunciation correct. And that's okay. That's no problem. Like I said, we're in the middle of kind of tying that off. But the nice part about it, these guys are not a threat. They're not here to interfere at all. They are simply passing on information. Okay. But I will tell you, humans are more relaxed around races that look humanoid. Okay, that look like humans. Yes, they shroud themselves, kind of a necessary thing, because you got to remember, xenon are energy, period, and that is what they eat. And I do not mean that they eat life source. Okay, there's a whole complicated process where these guys literally can feed on the actual matter of reality. Okay. Now, again, guys, if any of you have a question, if there's been a question that came up, I do have the chat room up and running here where I can see what's going on. Now, I don't pay a whole lot of attention to what's going on as far as who's arguing with who. This is why I leave that to Storm in LA, because they do a bang-up job on removing problem children. And yes, some people have come in here, they've been problem children. We do our best to make this an absolutely safe place for everybody. Okay. And that's why I say ask questions, be respectful, and ask what you will. The people in this stream have been phenomenally supportive to most people until you get a genius in here that starts acting like an idiot. And then I start going, are they acting? I don't know half the time. But the reality is that all kinds of things take place, but everything is literally connected. Okay. Oh, by the way, when we take a look at the one thing about the xenon, okay, they on the whole are around the 5 foot mark. Okay, kind of around the same idea as a short human. Okay, so this is why they are a little shrouded on occasion, but it also gives you a direct link. Now, if you'll notice, xenon look like they're wearing a cloak. Your black-eyed children, okay, which I don't have a picture of yet because, well, frankly, they're set up to come into Volume 2. Okay, and rest assured, as soon as Volume 1 gets completed, we will be going into production of Volume 2 and get it dealt with. But there's a whole lot that's gone down on that note. Now, a couple of the other things I do want to touch on. Okay, and again, guys, if you have a question, okay, absolutely ask. Well, draw that down. Even if it's not on the topic we're working on. And like I said, like I mentioned earlier, Joe, if you'd like to, drop me a line and we'll see what we can piece together about what happened. Because there's a couple of things that add up really well and a couple that don't. The other thing, before I move on from Xenon, the other thing about them is they are not a hive mind. Okay, but they absolutely are mentally connected. Very much like the Lemurians were centuries ago. They have absolute total connectivity to the point of being able to see through each other's eyes. Now, in all fairness, the Lemurians used to be able to do that as well. And no, by the way, the Xenon do not have As you can well imagine, bearing in mind they are energy people, they don't require a physical ship to go anywhere. Okay, they are fully linked, fully capable of relocation. Now, I've been playing with the question of whether to get into the real conflict side of things. Whether to touch on tonight, because there's a lot more that I've got here. Well, let's face it. This book right now is 64 pages long. The second edition is over 80. Okay, because of the enhanced information in it. Not the least of which is the addition of, as we talked about yesterday. Now, as we talked about on Tuesday, I have included the list of, and it's just a list. Here's the names. Here's what you may know them by with some of them. But we are dealing with over 120. And yes, I did say I deal with these people head on. Now, I've heard a lot of people, I've talked to a lot that have said, oh, I interact with this race all the time. Now, I will tell you, the number of people that I have talked to that have said, I interact with this race all the time, and they're gearing up for war. Now, you get to call it, okay? I'll tell you wholeheartedly, there's not a race out there getting ready to wipe out mankind. There's not a race out there that is going, oh, you're my puppets. This has been tried, admit it. The Anion, the Anunnaki, the Gadefni are all races that have tried to play God. Okay, but they've also all been shut down. Okay, so when I hear somebody going, oh, I'm in touch with royalty on this race, it's a cute thought. And the biggest problem I have in some cases is these people will go, I'm in touch, I'm working with royalty on a democratic race. Picture, if you will, trying to deal with royalty in the Australian outback, where you're dealing with the Australian Aborigines. I'm in touch with the king of the Australian, the Australian Aborigines. It's a wonderful idea, except unless something has really happened in a weird way. Last I knew, the Australian Aborigines did not have a king or queen. Okay. I remember somebody telling me one day they were a natural half-breed Anunnaki. Now, this is just flat out physically impossible from what I've seen. You guys have seen, if you guys are involved in UFOs, in that kind of research, in even the study of potential alien races, or even archaeology, have you ever seen the pictures of, and you can call them fake if you want, I am not a photo analyst, okay? Have you ever seen a picture of a skull 6 feet tall, as in 6 feet from here to here? If you've ever seen one, you've seen the remains of an Anunnaki. Okay, it's that simple. Now, you can believe what you saw, you can believe the photos, you can tell me I'm completely off my nut, or no, I was involved with non-Anunnaki human size. They call it a fetus. I'm thinking it's not ready to reproduce. Just personally. Okay, this is why I say, the number of people that I talk to that go, here, I'm studied these, I've dealt with these guys for years. Here's a bunch of information. Now, you get to decide. Am I the one completely off my nut? Okay, or am I on the right track? It's just your option. I'm not here to prove it to anybody. Okay, I have enough trouble proving it to myself. Like I said, with what Adam and his wife did. Okay, if I required physical proof, that I'm having and that this work is having a beneficial impact. They just provided it for me. There is no way I can unsee that. Where are we here? Okay. So, am I going to be shutting this down? No. By the way, here's a neat little issue. Some of the things that have been causing me a lot of stress lately, and needless to say, that stress has translated into vocal volatility. Okay, unfortunately, and I can apologize until the cows come home. It's kind of like apologizing for hiccuping. It doesn't change that it happened. Okay, but there have been a lot of changes. One thing that's not changing is this stream, unless YouTube shuts me down. And that's why we've got Storm, LA, and Nathan in the saddle. If there is a problem, they deal with it before it becomes a problem. Now, that said, okay, remember I said, yes, humans are fighting, and the off-worlders, what they've got is better toys. Okay, now we got wars all over Earth right now. Apparently not as many as we did a decade ago, but we have wars. Now, here are some of the more advanced wars going on. We have the Talon, which are an ant-based race. I will get into these ones I'm just touching on, so I'm not going to go popping the pictures up right now. The Talon, which is an ant-based race, they are web slingers. Okay, they produce webs themselves. They're not spiders. They are if you've ever had memories of being in a web enclosed cocoon, the odds are the Talon had. If you've been abducted by these people, you may remember. Thank you very much, there, LA. You may remember finding yourself inside a web-like cocoon, okay, or covered in webbing. This, in all likelihood, is the Talon. Okay, now they are in constant conflict with me, but that's another issue. With the Taurian. Now, there's a video on YouTube that I saw, and you may have seen it. A very large, clear, reflective ball flying across the countryside, following it, and literally following it and losing ground. Were a couple of, I'm no military specialist. Okay. I think they were X-15s. Okay, these were United States military aircraft trying to keep up with this thing. Now, they might have been X-18s. I don't know. I do know the globe itself. Now, this is where it gets really twisted in my eyes. I can't tell you the plane that the humans were flying. But that globe that you see comes in, and all of a sudden, it starts off as a little thing, and all of a sudden it goes right past the camera. Okay. That's a Taurian ship. Okay. Now, the Taurians are very similar to spiders. Again, we will get into those not today because we are down to about 25 minutes. They are in conflict with the Talon and the Taurian are in conflict with each other. They have been for centuries. Okay. Then we take a look at another conflict going on is between the Swazians, which are a reptilian race, 7.5 to 8.5 feet tall. Okay. And we bring your attention in this case to this particular book. This is the end of an epic, the second book in the volume that's in print. Okay. This guy here, there is a Swazian. This one is human. Now you can see the difference in size. Okay. These Swazians are human allies. They came here to literally protect people and protect mankind from the Teklak. Now, Teklik are a raptor-looking like reptilian race that is about 3 feet tall. If you measure tail to nose, they're about 5. Okay, but on YouTube, there is a video that shows 2 of these guys running through the sewers in New York. I don't know if it's up still. Okay, I stumbled across it one day. Same way I stumbled across the YouTube picture of the Torians. Okay, they're in war. Now, you remember my telling you about the Xenon? Okay, the Mechlanoids. The Teklik came here originally because the Xenon were heading their direction. Okay, and the Xenon are known for wiping people out. Okay, for wiping entire planets out. So the Teklik were originally bound for here because of resources. Not just gold, guys. They were after everything. When they got here, they found out that humans were here, and oops, humans were also tasty. Well, now we can't wipe out the planet because we got a food source here, a delicacy source that isn't available in our end. Okay, but Strazazians got here first. Okay, net result, you've got a neat little war going on there. This conflict literally created a civil war in the Teklik community. Again, you'll notice war is not just a human invention. Okay. Now I talked to you before when we were looking last week. We talked to you about the Sarkon Empire and the way it came about. Okay, so I cannot stress enough that we are dealing with a society, with a interconnected, intergalactic, interstellar carry-on. Okay, this is all connected. Now, hopefully, this information has come into play, or more to the point, hopefully this has made sense. Again, if we haven't touched on a race that you would like to be looking at, we're going to look into this whole week. We are focusing on the peoples of the consortium. And yes, we are going to hit that neat little annoying note periodically on what mankind is doing to itself and whether or not you guys are going down the same road that you've done before. You did it in Rome. The monarchies had a problem with it. Many of the countries have had problems with it. Humans are repeating the same mistakes. And I will tell you, as early humans did eventually figure out, killing your firstborn child won't affect the weather. Destroying ancient works of art will not wipe out the events. Okay. And yes, there are things that have been found on Mars and on the moon that are possibly human or simply inspired by. Okay. A lot of things are coming up that are not being talked about. One of the biggest things that we've got to make sure that people get is the fact that no race is trying to wipe out Earth. Okay, not a one of them. Well, I shouldn't say not a one of them, but we are in the process of educating and having some of the Xenon defectors coming into the area and look for asylum and subsequently get granted asylum. Okay, more to the point, they got granted a new lease on life. Okay. Rachel's just asking if there are any feline type races. And the answer is yes. Okay. We'll start with the two obvious ones. As a matter of fact, let's see if we can bring this up for you. Gotta move that over so I can actually see the thing. There are a couple, but I just got to get to where they are. Whoop. let's go back up here. Here we are. We have this neat little race. This is the Rocher. Okay. And we pop here. We pop this in for Storm to pass on for us. I'm telling you, I'm quite happy with the way this has worked. There we go. Now, these are Rocher. Okay. They are a feline race. Okay. Now, we got to realize we are talking about races that look feline. Okay. And yes, these are carnivores, meaning they will quite readily take people down. They are not what you would consider amicable. I mean, they can be. You just got to realize they are carnivorous. They are hunters. And they have no qualms about getting their hands dirty. Now, this is only one of the feline races. Okay, the other one that I do desire to take a look at, or do desire to show you, are these ones here. Now, before I go on with that, yeah, the Rocher are very much family oriented. Okay, they basically are clan. Okay, so I mean they are interactive that way. But, and let's see this other one. There. We copy that and we go to here. And this is the second one. Now there's a few other races, but these are the two easiest that I've got readily available. And both of these are in Races of the World, the second printing that they'll be in. Whoop, where'd it go? Now the neat little thing with the Laborians, give you an idea. Okay, Laborians have a little bit of a life cycle. They are, from human standpoint, they're essentially immortal. Okay, because, well, they're not immortal, but the average lifespan of a Laborian. Actually, I can give it to you. I just have to calculate it. Let us take a look. Okay, the average life of a Laborian, assuming it does not get killed, in human terms, their average life is 12.75 million years. These guys don't die. Needless to say, well, they do, but they don't die very quickly. Okay, but again, they're very clan oriented. They're a very intriguing little race. They've been here long. Let's look at that. Zerziks arrived first. Well, Zerziks didn't arrive first, but they were the first race that got here. Okay, after the Gaboran was built, after the shell was put together, and the Gaboran awoke. The spirit showed up first. Okay, then the Gaboran came to life. Elfid showed up. Moldok showed up, brought with them the Laborians. Okay, mankind did not show up until several millennia later, and they were built on Earth. Okay, so yes, man was built on Earth. Okay, it's not seeded from another planet. Okay, did it evolve? The nice part about it is, did it evolve from a simian base? Everything I know about it says yes. Everything I watched says yes. Okay, but again, where's your proof? Good luck with that. Okay, as my brother put it, my memory is passé. My memories are there. Okay. And as he put it, I've got no way of getting proof for it, but I've got enough information that's been corroborated, according to him, that I could have somebody convicted of murdering somebody where the dead person died 100 years before the accused was born. Okay, this is the kind of situation we're looking at. Oh, good. I did something wrong there. But apparently not. So we are looking at a lot of changes, a lot of information that's going on. Okay, what we have to realize is that all of these races are absolutely interconnected. Now, where are we? We are down to the last 15 minutes. We are winding down. Not a problem there at all, Rachel. Okay, I am looking into a number of things that are going to be made available as we can. I will tell you, where it comes to what I was doing, okay, where it comes to dealing with different advertisers and what have you, I've sheared all of that completely off. I actually told somebody, I told my last advertiser, I said, okay, I'm canceling the contract now. She goes, the first thing she sent was the letter saying, can we talk and I'll help you through this. And I'm thinking, I've already solved the problem. I won't be spending another nickel. Contractor, no, I'm done. Because I've got in several thousand years and in fact several $1,000s and a number of years of giving them money, I have not had one inquiry towards any of the books I've got up for grabs. Not one. Now, never mind sales, I've never gotten an inquiry. I don't know about you, but from my standpoint, this is a breach contract on their end. So I've cut all of that advertising out. Okay. I've already terminated Yellow Pages. Okay. What they did with it, I don't know. I'm still up and available. At the top of this of the chat room here, you'll see a link to buy me a coffee. Okay, which leads to all of the books I've got available. Or you can contact me through there or directly through Inner Voice Enterprises at yahoo.ca. Okay, again, any one of the videos I've got out, underneath them, you will see a whole bunch of ways of getting a hold of me. I will be expanding on that. One thing I won't be doing is shutting down either Positive Perspectives, the newsletter, or Positive Perceptions, this live stream. This continues. This will be the free outlet. Okay. And yes, I do private readings. I do private, individual work, business and personal. Okay. And I charge a staggering level. I've been charged literally, I've been paid rather, literally $2,600 an hour and then some. But where everybody else is, and bear in mind, 37 years active in the professional field, I took that price and went, nope, I charge a staggering $80 an hour, $15 or $20 for 15 minutes. Okay. Not bad discounts, about 97% discount, I think. This is when everybody else is raising prices. Okay. But, yeah, you speak for me as well there, Joe. I tell you, if it weren't for the work that LA and Storm have done, not only in running the stream and getting it working properly, but you would not believe some of the twisted conversations we've had because of the hiccups I've run into. Okay, this is one of the reasons why I am so intent on getting down there. And I mean, we're right at the end of June here. We're looking at about 6 weeks, and I'm finally getting south of the border to actually see them again. And yes, this one I'm going down. We pick up my fiance and we take her with us to go down to make sure that everything is connected. Guys, keep that up. You're going to hit the window. I got birds outside my front window here that keep dive bombing the window. And if they don't watch it, they're going to run into a problem, also known as my window. Susan, how are we? Glad you could join us. You know, I don't think I've seen you in here before, but I'm so happy to actually have you arrive. You know, this is the important part here. If you've got any questions, doesn't matter what field, absolutely. If you've got any questions, put them in the chat room. I will do my best to get to them. Granted, we are running low on time because we are down to the last 15. But that doesn't mean I won't get to them. You know, the important factor from my end is this place has to absolutely be maintained as a safe place for everybody. Oh, there we go. Well, now you can't. Now the never doesn't work. See, this is why never. Oh, by the way, was it should I just started working on? Where did I put it? Nope. Sure, make me think. That's on. Well, you didn't do that. Nope. There it is. Yeah, I got up to move. Bingo. All of these words are being covered. But remember I mentioned there was another word that I knew existed. I couldn't for the right life of me remember what it was. Well, must is another word that is very self-deprecating. But it's kind of an oddball word. It will be written about and dealt with down the road. Not tonight. You know, the important factor that we are looking at and the whole purpose of this week is literally to help you guys realize and accept that everything we're talking about is literally interconnected. Can I explain it? The answer is absolutely yes. Okay. Can I explain it in simple terms? Sure. We are all connected. How's that for simple? Hey, this young lass didn't drink all of my coffee. Oh, that quick? Okay. Well, that answered that. Now, this is an odd week. Okay. We will be back again tomorrow. Okay. First and foremost, this contains the races, the different interactions, the interconnectivity of it all is the course of the next 4 days here. Okay. So I do want to say first and foremost, thank you so very much for sharing your time with us tonight. Really appreciate it. Absolutely looking forward to seeing you again. And that said, I will be back again tomorrow. Okay, all this week, we are literally covering different races, different interconnections. If you've got a race you're curious about, and just from your standpoint, Rachel, tomorrow, we've got a couple of races here that we were asked about. The feline races, we will be concentrating on tomorrow. Okay, as in the Roche and the Laborians. And we'll cover those as well. Where are we here? In more detail. I need this. Again, I keep my pad. This is so I can keep things moving in the right direction. Now, with that in mind, I will be back again tomorrow, but until then, do take care of yourselves and each other, and for pity's sakes, stay positive.